charisma aren't always a good thing. When something is too good to be true, you should typically steer away from it. Therefore, whenever your sibling or any other family member is in an unhealthy relationship, you should try to help them in the most prompt way possible. Thus, would you allow your sibling to stay in a toxic relationship just because you don't want to ruin their feelings? Or would you allow them to stay, or would you tell them, yet risk being wrong about their partner and potentially ruin your relationship? This happened to me a couple of years ago. When my sister was around her freshman year of college, she started messaging a guy through Instagram. My sister was known to be quite a naive person, but that's what makes her a good person. She was messaging this guy, and they quickly started bonding over shared interest in music and even careers. Then around early January, she became a couple with him. But although this seemed way too fast, I didn't really consider anything about it because, well, who am I to judge? Then around the second, third, fourth months, I started noticing a lot of red flags about this mysterious man. The first red flag is that he had a lot of white lies. He would either, well, first of all, he claimed that he worked at Toyota and was a student in the local college. Although this was impossible because when my mom called Toyota, this wasn't even true because the employees claimed that he never worked there. Then, whenever my sister would try to break up with him, he would constantly cry about it and claim that his blood results came back positive for a random dangerous disease, which would guilt back my sister into staying with him. Then the second one was his possessiveness. My sister could not go anywhere without him. If a guy met sister, oh my god, that would be a jealous temper tantrum that would last weeks on end. It would even get as bad as if there would be verbal abuse amongst both of them, which I was often part of because my sister would babysit me, so I often saw this. Then the last red flag was his manipulative tactics. So whenever my grandparents or my mom were around, he was super nice to them, super chill. He seemed like the perfect guy, straight out of a fairy tale. But whenever I started to suspect of him, his good nature started becoming annoyance as I would have to steer away from him whenever he came over to our house. Therefore, my biggest dilemma was this: should I tell my sister that her boyfriend is toxic, or should I just stay quiet and wait for her to figure out her and get hurt by him? I questioned my mom about this, and she told me that maybe I was jealous because I wouldn't be able to hang out with my sister as much if she were to get married. And also, I thought maybe I was judging him too hard, and maybe I was wrong about it. So I decided not to tell her anything. But a year later, they ended up splitting ways because of my sister's immaturity, which, let's be honest, that wasn't the case. But in conclusion, honesty is the best policy whenever it comes to helping someone escape a toxic relationship. As soon as you notice red flags, you should alert this person in order to prevent them from getting hurt. Since I couldn't help my sister avoid this consequence, I feel guilty about it. But at the same time, we learned a big lesson on who not to trust, and whenever things should raise a low red flag. Because at the end of the day, no one is perfect, and if they're perfect, you should typically look at the details to see if anything's wrong, because the devil lies in the details. Thank you, and this concludes my presentation.